So, my ass will be in the house, or no, I'm working on Halloween. Not a chance. Nah, fuck. Just realized I'm
4 years ago, I took my youngest sister and her two friends trick-or-treating. I'm 18 now. I was obviously 14 during the time of this story. My youngest sister was only 7 at the time, along with her two friends, who, of the two, I'll only name one, Mary, for privacy reasons. I didn't have plans anyway, so I guess I was actually a bit happy that my parents made me walk with them. Plus, I low-key told my sister to fill an extra bag for me at each house. By now, we were more than a mile away from my house. The girls' bags were all pretty full now, and I was ordering them to start making their loop back in the direction of our house. The girls were approaching the front door of a corner house across the street from an old, closed-off community park.
Right.
The house already stood out from the rest on the block in that there was a 3-foot wooden fence surrounding the perimeter, except for the walkway and driveway, and a bunch of overgrown trees and bushes on the front lawn. It was completely blocking the actual house from view.
Wow.
They tried looking for the doorbell, but then called back to me that there wasn't one. I answered back, telling them to just knock on the door. My sister pounded on the door in 3 different intervals. Then I called for them to skip this house. As the 3 girls were walking down the stoop, the front door to the house creaked open, and somebody could just barely be seen poking their head out from behind the door, which was open just a crack.
Bitch, nope. If a house looks creepy as hell, what are the chances of me even coming close to that bitch is really fucking slim. It's so slim. So, I really hope they don't get fucked up.
The girls walked back up the stoop and simultaneously yelled trick or treat.
Fuck.
From the sidewalk, all I could see was an arm reach out from around the door, and then the person's pointer finger lifting up as if to say 1 second. The arm kind of creepily pulled back into the house. My view of it not seeing a body made the situation really eerie. The door closed, and for what felt like 20 seconds, they just stood there on the stoop.
Why?
I was about to ask them what was going on, but once again, the front door to the house cracked open. Once again, just an arm came into view for me. This time, I could see him waving the girls to come into the house with his hand.
No, bitch.
My sister and her two friends were actually making their way into the house before even looking back at me for approval.
What?
At this point, the feeling in my stomach told me something wasn't right here.
No,
and
you
I yelled
think?
to the girls to come back. The really disturbing part was as soon as I yelled this, the person shut the front door, almost slamming it in their faces. The 3 girls came back over to me. I told them that was enough trick-or-treating for the night. I nudged them to continue walking forward, keeping my eyes on the house. Barely through the overgrown bushes in front of the house.
Oh shit!
I saw
It's their nightmare. You give me every time with that shit. Fuck.
the blinds to one of the front windows rustling around, and an older man sitting by the window. We continued walking home now. The girls told me the man initially said, "1 second while I go get the candy," and then shut the door. When he came back out, he whispered to come inside to get the candy.
Why?
I was considering calling the cops and reporting this guy, but I wanted to get home and see what my parents had to say first.
That's that shit, bruh.
We were probably halfway down the block when I turned around and saw a person standing by the corner of the block right where the house was. We made it back to our house where I told my parents. They called my sister's friend's parents, and when they got there, we all had a long conversation about it. We then all drove over to the house in separate cars, with my mom talking with the 911 operator in the car. When we got to the house, we learned before the cops even arrived by a neighbor that the house had been vacant for months. Mary's dad was the quickest one to realize what was actually going on here. A sexual predator, or maybe even worse, was hiding in the house for Halloween, waiting to lure unsuspecting kids into the house to snatch them.
That bitch.
And what scares me the most to this day was that my sister and her friends were about to enter that house before I told them not to. Halloween can be a very dangerous holiday.
Hell yeah, especially now with these clowns. I'm not with the shits. Nope. Hell no.
2 years ago, I was home on Halloween, and for the most part, it was a pretty normal day. Since Halloween was on a Friday, all of my friends were out partying.
Okay.
However, I was doing homework. Not one of my most exciting nights, but I didn't mind too much. I really had to get this homework done anyway. My mom and dad were handing out candy to the trick-or-treaters, as they usually do.
Right.
My house doesn't usually get many because we're pretty much the only house on the block that hands out, so it's often ignored because it's not worth their time. Tonight was no exception. Later that night, my mom calls me down and tells me to watch the door for trick-or-treaters because my neighbors had come over asking for help with their costumes for a party.
Okay.
So my neighbors and my parents both went upstairs to work on the costumes, leaving me alone downstairs. It didn't bother me because I had finished my homework and I could just play my PS4 while listening for knocks on the front door, which was close by. Only a couple more trick-or-treaters came in about an hour. Pretty typical for this area. However, around 11 p.m., I heard a knock at the door.
That's kind of late.
I thought it was pretty weird since it had almost been an hour since the last knock, and it was pretty late for trick-or-treaters to still be out.
Right.
Regardless, I grabbed the candy and went to answer the door. It's important to note that there's a small room in between the front door and the living room. When we answer the front door, we make sure to lock the door behind us leading to the living room so our dogs don't run up and start barking and whatnot.
At least
I
you
did
got
the same thing here. When I answered the door, there was a surprisingly large man, at least 6'3" tall, with a somewhat muscular physique.
you playing. No, see, because if I was in that situation, I guarantee, no, this would be my honestly got 100% reaction. If I'm home alone, right, or like I'm just downstairs and I answer the door and it's Halloween trick or treat, I'm giving out candy and whatnot, and I see a 6-foot person, man, all like dressing 6 foot, 11 o'clock p.m. Hell to the no. No, that's like, what? 6 feet? I'm like, nah, you have to go down the street or something. I'm not like, no, you just asking yourself to get fucked up. 6 feet? That's tall as shit. Well, not really, because I'm 5'11". But I guess that's my bitch coming out of me. Somebody put a hashtag stop being a pussy or something. Like, I can't help it. It's in my nature. Like, it's who I am. I'm a fucking bitch at the heart of it. It's sad, but it's true.
Standing in front of me wearing a Michael Myers costume.
Wow.
Not a cheap one either. It looked pretty expensive for a costume. He stood in front of me but didn't say a single word. I thought it was pretty unusual because it's kind of customary to say trick or treat.
Right.
But nope. He didn't do a thing but stare at me. It was almost like he was a statue.
Wow.
I thought he was really trying to sell the character and creep me out, and it was working.
Bitch, you got me.
I was feeling a little intimidated because I'm pretty small for a guy, only
Right.
about 5 feet 10 inches tall. I decided to break the awkward silence and say trick or treat for him while handing him some candy.
Oh, fuck.
I couldn't believe what he did next. In response to me handing him candy, he took a few steps into my house. This was when I started getting really uncomfortable. You're supposed to take the candy, say thank you, and go.
So, yeah.
It's like an unspoken rule that you don't walk into people's houses without permission.
That, bruh.
It was at this moment that I also noticed that he didn't have any type of bag for candy. This was a huge red flag, because I realized then that he was not there to trick or treat. Before I could respond, the man reached into his pocket and pulled something out. I didn't want to look at it, but I was assuming it was a weapon, and I had no idea what to do.
Better not been no
I
dick.
locked myself into a small room with a psychopath much larger than me holding a weapon, blocking the only exits. We all like to pretend and make up scenarios in our heads where we have to be the hero and save the day. But here I was, stuck in a real-life situation, completely unable to move, not able to save myself. I was frozen in fear. It was such a weird feeling, almost like I was dreaming the entire thing. I had no control over my body. And what a cliche way of dying I thought it would be, getting stabbed to death by someone dressed up as Michael Myers on Halloween. Thankfully it didn't go like that, because without warning, the guy takes off his mask and jokingly says, "I'm just messing with you, bro." I'm still frozen in shock and can't respond in any way. He then says, "I scared you though, right?"
Bitch.
Completely confused and still afraid, I managed to respond with, "Yeah, you got me." He put the knife back in his pocket, which gave me a huge sign of relief, and said, "I didn't really come here to trick or treat, but can I have that candy anyway? I'm really hungry."
So what you come for?
I didn't hesitate to give him the candy because he creeped me out, and he still did have a knife. He then goes on to mention how he just left his friend's Halloween party and he saw my lights on and decided to prank me. It was obvious that he was drunk and high and thought knocking on someone's house pretending to be Michael Myers qualifies as a good prank. He mentions how he owns a tattoo place about an hour away from here, and even says that I'm pretty chill and that we should hang out sometime. He tells me to put his name and number in my phone so we can chill soon. I make sure to take his name and number down. After all, the last thing I wanted to do was upset this weird guy still blocking my only exit with a knife. I basically agreed to everything he said because I was still terrified and just wanted the conversation to end as soon as possible. But this conversation seemed to go on for hours. Despite this, I still didn't feel comfortable or safe.
I don't.
I had to find a way to get this guy out of my house.
He's still in your fucking house. You don't know this guy at all. What the fuck? I don't trust nobody, no motherfuckers with any type of mask, any type of Halloween, any type of costume on. I don't trust nobody like that. Especially on Halloween. You got me, I don't know what I was thinking when I was like 5, 6, 7 years old going out for trick-or-treating. I was on some bullshit. For real. If I knew what I know now, back then, I would have never did Halloween at all. At all. No. 5, 6, 7 years old, I was straight bullshitting. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking. I know I was a kid, but goddamn, even kids. My question is, why the fuck is he still in your house? Huh? He drunk, he high, 6 feet, 11 p.m. It's probably 12 o'clock now, right? And has a Michael Myers. God. He's still in your fucking house. Why you playing? Why you playing?
There's something way off about him, and I got vibes that he was a dangerous person.
Wow.
So I decided to make up a bullshit lie and say that I had something cooking in the oven that I needed to check on, and that I'd text him later. And it worked. He said okay and turned around to leave my house. I could not close and lock the door quick enough when he left. My heart was still beating so fast that I thought it was going to burst from my chest. That was easily the most terrifying and weirdest experience of my life. I decided to not contact the police though, since the guy didn't have any malicious intent. I guess he was just completely out of it and just a overall really creepy person. I still have his number to this day, but we've never texted or called each other.
So why
the way I'd like it.
Why the hell do you have his number?
As terrifying as that situation was, I can laugh at it now and use it as an interesting story to share with my friends. So I guess one good thing did come from it. Just be careful who you open your door for on Halloween. There's some very weird and messed up people out there. I got lucky this guy wasn't a complete psychopath, because nothing was stopping him from stabbing me.
Bitch, you see me laughing? Huh? The fuck? I'm not laughing.
Halloween used to be my favorite holiday, but ever since one not-so-sweet round of trick-or-treating, I've kind of switched over to liking Christmas the most.
Oh,
2006, I was 14 years old. Me and Johnny, my best friend at the time, were going trick-or-treating together. I remember it was a Tuesday night, so everyone had school the next day. That meant the craziness with the teenagers going around with TP and shaving cream wasn't as extreme. Nor was anything, really. My parents wanted me back by 11 o'clock the latest. Same with Johnny.
Okay.
It was around 8:30. I would constantly check my wristwatch. We were down a bunch of blocks close to the woods and the highway by the east end of town. This would likely be our last year of trick-or-treating, so we were trying to get as much candy as possible. We rang doorbell after doorbell. As the night wore on and the amount of kids outside lessened, the number of people answering their doors also decreased. Then it started to drizzle, and that's when it really became a ghost town outside. But that didn't stop us. We were now 3 houses down from the house that was commonly known around there as Hell House. It was nicknamed this because of the alleged murder that happened inside decades ago. Plus the fact that the house looked like it was built over 100 years ago and stuck out from the other houses 2 miles away. There was even a whole webpage dedicated to the house with a little lore behind it. I don't really remember the full details anymore. The website is down now, but at the time nobody seemed to know if anybody lived there or not. At the time I was sure the neighbors knew, but we didn't live very close to the house. Long story short, me and Johnny were feeling brave and cocky, so we hopped the creepy fence surrounding the seemingly abandoned property and walked up to the stoop, which was made out of ancient and worn-out looking red bricks. We knocked on the door a few times since there was no doorbell. The drizzle turned to rain, and we suddenly didn't want to move out from under the front awning. Johnny jokingly knocked on the door again, but my focus was shifted to walking home in this rain.
Really, Peanut? 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 That's a fake ass knock. Come here. Come here. Really? You can't tell the difference? Come on. Come on, Peanut. Get it together. Get it together. I love you, but get it together. Get off me. I hear people. Why do I hear people? Oh, why do I hear people? Oh, shit. That's why I hear people. Because it's somebody looking. That's neither here. Let's get back to the. I'm sorry.
Suddenly, a loud thud made us both jump. Johnny said it sounded like it came from a window upstairs, to which I replied, "Let's leave." We walked quickly back down the red brick pathway, hopped over the front black graveyard-like gate, and stopped to look back at the house on this dark, rainy Halloween night. Johnny bumped me on the shoulder and pointed to the upper middle window of the house, and I felt like my heart dropped from my chest when I saw somebody clear as day staring down at us.
Oh, that shit! Man!
There was something so disturbing about this person's face. I couldn't tell what it was through the rain and foggy window, but I swear that face and just this whole scene seemed like something you would see in a horror movie. We both jumped once again when the person at the window quickly and aggressively turned and seemingly ran away from the window. All we could assume was that they were coming outside after us. We quickly went to hide by the neighbor's fence, which was facing the backyard of the house. The sound of the rain thankfully masked the sound of our breathing and whispering. This neighboring fence was made of wood and had a bunch of holes, allowing us to peek through to the lawn next door. Suddenly, the entire fence started to shake a little, yet we couldn't see anyone on the other side, and we were certain it wasn't us who had done it. Johnny and I agreed it was time to make a run for it back to my house.
Ooh. I'm sorry. Shit. Oh, fuck. Okay, let me just explain to y'all what I just witnessed. Mr. Nightmare video didn't scare me. There's people. I live in a condo. We have another condo right beside us, so literally right next to, like, y'all can walk to the bitch. And it's for rent. There is this little, I'm focused on the video, right? There's this little ass girl that comes out of nowhere. In my window, I have my blinds open, wide the fuck open. Bruh, she's scared. My heart fucking sunk. God damn. Oh shit.
We both stood up, and when we turned to run, I saw something at the edge of the fence. At first I was confused as to what it was due to the darkness, but it soon hit me that this was a person leaning over to this side of the fence, exposing their body down to their waistline with one arm reaching around the fence. The way this person was positioned and staring at us made for a horrifying scene and memory. We dropped our candy bags and ran for it. After running 5 blocks and my getting a few cuts and bruises from tripping twice in the rain, we got back to my house. We agreed not to say a word, given that what we did could probably get us in trouble. The really scary part is the next day, after school, we went to go ask some of the neighbors over there if they knew who lived there, and they all gave the same response. They had no idea if anybody lived there or not. They never saw a car in the driveway or anybody outside. One of the neighbors even pointed out that the house had a for sale sign very briefly a few months prior, but disappeared within a few days.
Really?
We told all of the neighbors our story, and they were all very disturbed by the news. I moved out of that neighborhood in 2007 the next year, and I've never had to worry about the story behind that house or who was living there since. All I know is something strange was going on inside of that house, and I kind of wish I found out what.
Really? For sale? For sale? Really? And it took you a year? Oh, bitch. Come on, really? It took you a year to move out of that goddamn neighborhood? Really? It would have took me no time. I'm talking about I'm moving out the next day. I don't care if I'm living by myself or I need a roommate or I'm moving in back with a family member. Like, that's a creepy ass house. I'm not taking no chances at all. At all. And look, I know deep down inside, I'm a scary ass, like I get scared fast and I'm a bitch. I know this. Right? Hashtag Gattor's a bitch. I don't care. Right? I'm running from anything. Y'all already know this. But when I decide to have kids, my kids are going to be like me. Point blank, period. My kids are going to be just as scared as me. They're going to have some common sense. They're going to be just like, I'm going to raise them to be like me. Like, when my kids come out of my wife's womb, or like, when I say that right? Like her vagina, I don't. when I finally see my kids for the first time, obviously they're gonna cry. But after they cry, I'm gonna be like, hey, you run from everything. You run, haul ass, kick rocks, give them the boot, dust them, whoever it is. If something seems weird, something seems out of the ordinary, you haul ass like shit. I don't care how old you are. I don't care what you're doing. You drop it and you run. Don't look back. And whoever's with you at the time, if they're not with you, I mean, you know, if they're with you and you're running and they aren't with you, or they slow down, fuck them. Say you love them and you respect them, but I can't. You haul ass, and I'm telling my kids this when they're fresh out, when they're first born, like their first couple of seconds of being alive. That's it. You run. Same thing goes with y'all. Y'all run. I can't express that enough. Oh, that's funny. I'm wearing a cat shirt. You know what? You know what another name for a cat is? Pussy. This guy. Y'all probably laughing right now like, I could not be more serious than what I already am right now. I'm a pussy. I'm a pussy. I am a pussy. Hashtag Gators a pussy. I'm sorry, but I'm being honest with you. I'm not a liar. I don't hold anything back. So I'm just telling you like it is. But with all that being said, keep it cool, keep it classy, and I love you. Stay happy, my family, and run from everything.